Hello and welcome back to Boiler Room Reviews. My name is Ian and today I'm going to be discussing which is better, Jaws the novel or Jaws the film. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The film's better. It's much better. I know that's kind of sacrilegious. Usually people will rank a novel higher than the film adaptation. I usually do as well, but I think this is an exception for me. Now, I am probably a little bit biased because I saw the film when I was very, very young. I loved it. I've always loved creature features, monster movies, horror films. My favourite film as a little boy was Jason and the Argonauts. Always loved goobers and monsters. So I've watched Jaws hundreds of times, and I only read the book a few years ago. So all that context of the actors that played the characters, you know, you've got Dreyfuss, you've got Robert Shaw, etc., etc. So all of these actors are embedded in my mind as the characters that were written in the novel. So I'm probably a little bit biased, but I'm going to try and convince you that I think I'm right on this one. Now, if you don't want to hear any spoilers, if you've not read the book or watched the film, what are you doing anyway? Because you should have done. But I'm going to throw loads of spoilers in here. So I'm going to start with the differences, the main differences between the film and the novel. There's a lot more politics in the novel, a lot more with the mayor, and I think it's the editor of the local newspaper. So if you know the story, there's the struggle between Brody and the mayor about whether to keep the beaches open. Now, the early going is very similar between the novel and the film. There's the initial attack for the young girl that's then discovered, and then a further attack and the back and forth about whether the beaches should be open. But yeah, there's a lot more politics in it, and there's also a lot more stuff about class, because Brody's wife Ellen, she comes from a better background than him, and she's getting sort of middle age, and she's sort of regretting her decisions, and should she have married someone different? And this leads her to having an affair with Hooper, which for me kind of ruined it a little bit, because in the film Hooper's such a likable character, and eventually so's Quint as well. And this is one of the main things that really bothered me when I read the book, is I didn't find any of the characters likable. And if you remember in the film, like the final act is the Quint, Brody and Hooper, they all go out on the boat and they're out there for however many days hunting the shark. In the novel, they return each day, which didn't work as well for me. I suppose it's not that important, but I liked that sort of cabin fever of the three of them stuck together out on the water in the film, and also how their relationships grow and they become really quite likable. And I think some of Robert Shaw's writing in the film, like the USS Indianapolis speech, you know, really stands the test of time. Really quite harrowing. So in the novel, whilst they're out, Quint and Brody sort of are both suspicious about Hooper, but no one's really getting on with anyone. And as I said, no one's really likable. So when two of the characters die, you don't really care, or I didn't care so much. And the difference in the film is that Hooper survives with Brody and Quint dies. And it seems like, to me, it's right that Quint dies. He's Ahab, effectively, isn't he? So he kind of has to die. But in the novel, Hooper dies as well, and you don't really care because he's slept with Brody's wife behind his back. And yeah, as I said, what characters are likeable in this? The mayor is very unlikable in the novel, much like he is in the film. I always sort of equate him to Walter Peck in Ghostbusters. He's just that sort of really unlikable character, really, really annoying. But yeah, so on the whole, I enjoyed Jaws the novel, but I'd probably only give it a 6, whereas the film I'd give it an 8 or 9. So let's just say, Peter Benchley, you're such a loser. You lose so bigly. Spielberg won this one so well, by the way. So yeah, Benchley, not so good. Spielberg, a lot better. So let me know what you thought. Do you think the same thing? Is there any other comparisons? I'm thinking about doing a video comparing the Shining film and the novel and The Exorcist. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.